Divine Rise, Divine Rise, Divine Night, Divine Tidings. I'm gonna let this room fill up a little bit while I sip my tea. Divine, grand divine night on this beautiful Friday. On my side, it ain't really that. It's a little chilly outside. Not even really that chilly. But tonight we are going to be getting into the bond and learning how to separate away from it. The alchemical psychological bonding. That's tonight's very great topic. And I know in this one, I think it's only right that we start talking about understanding these words, because we understand words are spells. That's one level to it. But what exact words? I just finished looking into my etymology dictionary, and the first word I wanted to look up was marriage. And this is the exact definition of breakdown. Certain words just popped out, and I was like, oh, wow. Meanings: the marriage vow, formal declaration or contract by which two join in wedlock. That made me think just by itself. They tell us that in the same sentence, they'll tell you you had a child out of wedlock, but we never actually understood what it meant. What it means is every state of energy and vibration is sacred. You were born divine. We were born divine. We came into this realm from a divine space to learn from this space. So every time you bond with somebody or connect with somebody or share energy, that's two energies becoming one. Because within all of us is the masculine and feminine energy. With that being said, every exchange of energy, whether it's in anger, whether you cursing somebody out or you telling somebody you love them, that's a bond that you created through. That's a marriage. You just married the energies. That's why they always tell you, be careful who you let around you, be careful who you have into your life, because their energy reflection is a reflection of you. It says a formal declaration or contract by two join in wedlock, also a wedding. The celebration of a marriage, the marriage ceremony from the late figurative, non-theological, intimate union, joining as if by marriage. Late 14th century. This is where I was tripped out. When two people under the influence of the most violent, most insane, most delusive, and transient of passions, when two people are under the influence of the most violent, most insane, most delusive, and the most transient of passions, they are required to swear that they will remain in that excited, abnormal, and exhausting condition until death do them part. That's the definition. That's the breakdown of the noun, which is the word marriage, based on the etymology online dictionary. That's that. We can go further. It's all about the words. We've been put into this thought process that we want the best life. We want the best life. We want the best life. We want the best for ourselves. We want the best for our kids. We want the best here on. We want the best. We have that dream. They give us the American dream. They keep us in this position to be none other than fed upon. Someone can tell you about the Matrix. If I sat here and told you were a battery and you don't get offended, if I tell you something, this is all you are, and you don't get offended, there's a good chance that you're under the mind control, because the thing with them, the thing outside of you, what they're doing is mind control. There's no real magic to what they're doing because they don't have the tools they don't have what's possessed to make the magic. They don't have those tools. So with us, we get so bogged down in, I don't want to do this anymore, so I'm not going to do this, and I'm not going to do this, and I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to be a part of this. So you give yourself separation. Even in the conscious community, through that hierarchy, the only reason that there's a superiority in that thought process is someone is literally, you're just separated. You're just further separated than the other people that are around you. You haven't divorced from it because you haven't even took the prep to divorce from anything. You haven't even prepped your mind to the agreement, to even understanding the original agreement. And that's what I was talking about earlier. When you came here, you came into an agreement. There was an agreement that you made with yourself. Through the years, through the days, through the decades, one person kept their side of the deal. And they're going to continuously, they came in with one thing in their mind, one thought process in their mind, and that's to take everything from you and be parasites. To feed the fear, to feed the hunger, to feed all these things that are within them. That's all they came to, that's basically what they're here for. On that space. Once you understand what something's there for in your life or what it is, guess what you do next? You learn from it and you move around it. We get stuck because we're only merely separated. As I keep saying, we're only separated. That's why I tell you, starving your ego, that's that death to us part. Once you've starved something enough, it dies. It goes to its next space. It transcends to what it's supposed to do next. That's the energy. Energy doesn't die. All these things are a part of us. So if you don't understand why things are bonded to you, the alchemy of what's bonded to you, then you don't move forward. You're in the same space, different scenery. Same space, different scenery. Right now, a lot of us are in the same space. We just have different scenery. Yeah, we changed the paint on the walls. Yeah, we put up some crystals. Yeah, we put up wall tapestries. Yeah, we meditate more. Yeah, we're eating cleaner. Yeah, we're drinking more water. Yeah, we're doing these things. But what are you prepping your body for? What are you prepping your mind for, actually? Because on the lower level, all you do is give them something else to see so they know how to jump onto that trend. They make it a trend. They've done that forever. They appropriate you and make it a trend. They're following you, they're following you. They're following your lead. We gotta start looking at things backwards. What if you don't respond to something emotionally and you take the chance to actually sit back and actually learn from it? You create degrees of separation. The more you learn, the more you separate yourself. That's the same similar thought process as grade school. When you're in kindergarten, you don't necessarily know the things you learn in kindergarten have no encompassing to what you learn when in college to higher studies. That's the same thing. That's the same analogy for our bodies, for us. The things that you used to know or know of, it's time to relearn. We should constantly be relearning everything that comes around us. Because if you're not relearning anything, you're just coming back into the same phase. Damn, I'm back in the same spot. You're getting upset at things outside of you that have nothing to do with you. The moment you give it your attention, the moment that it can feed from you. The moment that it has your attention is the moment that it can feed from you. We have to get into the mindsets of absorbing all this information and growing from it. Growing, outgrowing. We have to get in the stasis of being comfortable with being uncomfortable. We're getting too comfortable. When someone can tell you something and it makes you feel good, it's a good sign that you're comfortable. If somebody can tell you something and you can go research it and it makes you feel uncomfortable, makes you feel uneasy, dive into it. Negative and positives. I'll look at a post today actually, and somebody had posted what the anointing oil actually was. It's our spinal, the fluid that rises up our spine to the 12 cranial nerves. That activates and works on our pineal gland because we are the Christ energy. And then somebody in the comments said, I don't listen to anything that regards to Jesus because I don't fuck with Jesus. Read further in the text message, read further through the comments. All I said was Ashe. At the end of the comment that I dropped my Ashe in there, she replied back Ashe. Went on about my day. At this time, he had cognitive dissonance into actually even reading what he read. He didn't read it to learn. He didn't take the knowledge and the information in to learn or research it. He immediately replied. In your life, people are going to tell you things in that same thought process. If you're still married to your old ideals and beliefs, it's going to hurt. It's going to make you not want to think straight. It's going to make you hate. You're going to hate that person. You're going to get angry, upset. You're going to overreact. One thing about something, if you don't care, you don't have to say you don't care. You can show it. It's all about the energy that you carry and where you're at in your space. So certain things shouldn't even matter to you at this particular time. Shouldn't the things that are happening, if you're on a different path, if you're on a higher level, they shouldn't even phase you. And the things that are phasing you, those are the things that you're still connected to. Those are those parts of the humanity that you're still connected to. You're still stuck in that human realm. The longer you're sitting here worried about what is my dog going to do if I leave? What about Mother Earth? And what about these things? The more you're concerned with what's going on down here, the more weighted down your heart is. That's what it means by the weight of they weighed your, when you were weighed, your heart was weighed against the weight of a feather. And if your heart was heavier than the feather, that's when you went into the underworld. That's what that means. Right now, they keep you so conditioned to keep you so weighed down and so concerned with so many things, you're literally in the lower state of yourself, which is hell. To add insult to injury, insult to your actual divine intelligence, you're told that heaven and hell are places. It's the same, it's two different points on the same polarity. Two of the same points on the same polarity. So if I can tell you hell's a place, and I can give you a physical image of what hell is, what rules hell, and make you scared, keep you in that fear-based narrative, I can now feed from you. You can look back, there's so many different videos and research on most of that stuff's like the base level. That's like the conspiracy part. That's just the base level that you take in when they're talking about the birth certificate and everything being all capital letters and these words like this. All those things are tied into what you're married to. Because after a while, if you really sitting here and you don't want to be a part of something, you'll be doing everything in your power not to be a part of it. You'll be doing everything in your power to shift your way away from it, not complain about it. Why are you complaining about something that you can't fix? Remember, the level that a problem was created, it cannot be fixed on that same problem. It cannot be fixed in that same space. You have to go above it to see down. You have to go above it to see it from the higher level so you can see every perspective. So a lot of the times when we have thought processes, we'll get upset at something. We'll get upset like, okay, you go to your job. Your job has a certain set of regulations. Usually that went on. Your job has a certain set of regulations and rules and regulations, bylaws and everything that was written into it to be followed to continue to contain that structure. You feel me? So you can't go in there dressed a certain way. You have to be uniform. You have to be uniform in order to receive from what you're getting from there, you must follow the codes or be within the uniform of that space. That's the same thing that's happening outside of you right now. You're sitting here and you want to say, I'm going to be a part of this space. I don't want to be a part of this space no more. I want to be different. I want to show I'm different. I want to show I'm an individual. So they let you show your individuality. To keep you stuck in a space, similar like you go to a store. To keep you going back to that store, they got to keep putting new things in there to keep you attracted to going to that store. Man, they always have this and they always have this and they always have these nice things in there. They can just change around shelves, change around, move stuff around. But now you go back to that space. Ooh, I didn't notice that before. I didn't notice that before. I didn't notice that before. That's based off of your energy. You went in there so many times, bought so many things, so they brought those things further to the front of the store. That's the same thing that's happening in your reality in this realm right now. the things that you set your attention to the most, those are the things that they literally sit there and make more abundant. So they keep feeding from your fid, to keep you bonded, to keep you married, to keep that, to stay in this stasis. Remember what the word marriage means? To stay in that sense of conflict. They keep doing the same things. As long as you keep asking for it from somebody, as long as you keep asking somebody for something outside of you, you must accept how they give it to you. As long as you keep accepting something outside of you from somebody else, somebody giving you something, handing you put something in your hand, you must accept the way that they give it to you and everything that comes with it. So why would you stay somewhere where you're not wanted? Why would you put yourself in the space in your mind to think, okay, cool, eventually it'll change. Things are going to get better. Keep your head down, turn the other cheek. Keep your head down, turn the other cheek. Let's be nonviolent. Let's protest. Oh, I'm concerned about my health. I'm concerned about my health. I'm concerned about this. I'm concerned about my kids. I'm concerned about this. I said it earlier that everything begins in the spirit realm. Everything begins in the spiritual realm, the astral realm. That's where everything comes down. From the astral realm to your thoughts to the physical. Nothing starts here. So the only thing that can happen here is a continuance in this space. In your life, nothing can change until you tap in to your beginnings of understanding your higher self in the higher realm. Nothing changes. You can wake up tomorrow, be upset, go through the whole day upset. Nothing changes. We have to get ourselves out of the thought process. I'm working on the music with them. We have to take ourselves past this thought process that this is going to get better. Oh crap, I spelled that wrong. We have to get ourselves past that space of where we're at. We got to stop thinking. Hold on. The smoke from the incense getting in my eyes. We have to get past the thought process of where we're at to go higher, or it's not going to work. You cannot fix this from here. Don't work that way. If it did, we would have did it. We wouldn't be in this position that we're in. If it worked, we wouldn't be in the position that we were in. Don't work that way. What we get stuck on is the sentiment or the emotion. What we're stuck on is the emotional part. We think we're changing. You can be as positive as you want and start changing things in your lower part of your life and maintaining as you grow. But it's not going to do you any good if you're not actually applying what you're learning to going to the next phase. I have the example of Every day that I wake up, I speak my affirmations, set my intentions for each day, because you live in that moment, that I'm going to learn something from anything that comes to me. I am protected simply because there's no enemy within me that I have not learned. And the enemies that do show, or the negatives that do show, I must learn the negative to propel myself to the positive. In doing this, it creates further separation from my ego. You see how they get to your ego is hit you with something fearful and then reprogram. Similar to if you watch TV, you're sitting there watching TV, and most of us got DVRs and we're able to fast forward through the we're listening to the commercials without looking at them. We're listening to the commercials. When the commercial's over and we hear a certain tone, run back in there, sit back down. Oh, my show's back on, sit there and watch my show. They fast forwarded it, did a repeat. They took TiVo, made Netflix, made Hulu, made Amazon Prime, and all these factors. So when you sit in there and you fast forwarding through all your shows, you just see images flashing on the screen till it gets to the image that you want. To the image that you want to see. Your ego is not out of the way. So it's like your ego is looking at all these shows because you're looking, since your ego is sitting there stuck on what it needs, it's open. Your conscious is now open. Your subconscious is now recording everything that it's seeing at a rate faster than you actually can, that you're actually able to understand at that point until you get to your show. What did you just take in? There's a good, like when they did the movie Pixels, and they were showing like all the aliens and everything. Adam Sandler did the movie Pixels. That was a good image, like, or another good one. Like we've all seen Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. That's a good one. Remember the scene when they were doing the thing like they were gonna transfer stuff all across the world. They could transfer candy all across the world, and the little kid, like he ran over there and he got zapped, and he was like above their heads, and all those mini pixels until he got transferred over. That's the way that they show you images. You can look at your television and watch a TV show, and similar to like whenever you turn your TV off, the older TVs, the flat screens do the same shit. They just do it faster. If you go to your grandma's house and she got the old TV back there and she had it on that same channel all day, and then she turned it off, and as it's going off, you still see that same image. That's how your mind works. That's how the programming works. It isn't what they show you directly in your face. That's to open up your mind. That's to open up your conscious, because now your conscious is not defending anymore. That's why they start things with jokes, or they always say start something with a joke and put everybody at ease. Or if you ever thinking about being able to, for public speaking, the first thing that they tell us is, I know when I was going to college and they told us about public speaking, imagine the room, imagine everybody in their underwear. Hell, imagine yourself in your underwear. It puts your ego at ease so you can program, so you can actually start to speak. That's what they're doing. That's what that fear-based narrative is. In this realm, it's a fear-based narrative. They must continuously feed you fear because that's what you're married to. That's how that contract got together. And now we're stuck in a phase where we don't even want to read to understand the words that are in the contracts that we signed. So it came time like, ooh, we're free. The emancipation, ooh, we're free. Still on their plantation. You just signed a new agreement with your energy. That's similar to like, we know you don't have nowhere to go, but you can stay here on the plantation with me. And you can grow your crops, and it will come together at the end of the harvest and will divvy up the tally. But since you had no understanding, our ancestors had no understanding of numbers or basic math or any of these knowledge we were never taught. You had to survive of somebody telling you, well, we were short this month by this many. So next year, all you're thinking about, we got to make sure we have this many more. And then next year, you're short by this many. You're still short. We're in a space of being shortchanged constantly. We're stuck in this mode of being shortchanged. We're stuck in this environment where we're constantly being shortchanged. And what we do next time, work harder, try our best the next time. Something happens in the NFL, Colin Kaepernick was there and kneeled and did this thing, and it brought awareness to something. You're not bringing awareness to anything that they already know. You're not bringing awareness to stuff that they already know. These laws need to change. These laws don't include me. The laws were never meant to include you in the first place. The space was never meant to include you in the first place. If anybody read How to Turn a Negro into a Christian, and it breaks down the slave codes, the first thing that they told you, I think it's like the second slave code, was conversion of a slave into a Christian did not make them free. It just made you easier to control. To make you feel good in the space that you're in. So you stuck in this space fighting for something or other when you should be understanding it to break away from it in the first place. Nothing you do, this is what I mean by people you wearing these things as badges. I'm vegan. Okay, and I'm vegan. I'm plant-based. I know I'm vegan. I'm plant-based. But that's not something that I shout to the rooftops every single day, because I'm not doing it for anybody else. I'm doing it for me. I wanted the quickest way to receive all of my nutrients while being able to rest my body, for my body to get its adequate rest and its adequate nutrition at the same time. I took the path being plant-based, worked for me. When I talk to my clients and I'm doing consultations, I let them know the background. This is what it does. All I can do is give you, all I'm doing is pointing. Anything outside of that is keeping you locked in. If you're not doing it for yourself, ultimately you're doing it for your ego's telling you to do it just so you can feel good, so you can fit in. Why do you want to fit into somewhere that doesn't concern you? All you do is make yourself accessible. You just make yourself more accessible. Because until you learn how to do for your own, grow that self-sufficiency, you're saying that I don't want to read the Bible and I don't do anything that's dealing with religion. Okay, now you separated from religion. Now what? Man, I'm a Moor. I do the Moorish sciences. Or I'm a Mason, or I'm a Eastern Star, or I'm one of these organizations. A person that does not have does not understand their culture, their career becomes their culture. Your job becomes your culture. The fraternal, whatever organization you entered became your culture. You compartmentalized yourself. Congratulations. You've herded yourself into a space to where you're easy to be picked off as. That's all that is. You locked yourself into a space that now you're, oh shit, the man keep coming for me. because you keep letting them, you keep showing your moves. Man, the white man, the devil. You keep showing them your moves. You show them that you're going to get upset. You show them that you're going to get mad. You show them that you're going to be emotional or something or other. You show them. Think about it like this. The FBI and the CIA have a 98.9% conviction rate. 98.9% conviction rate. The reason that rate can be so high, so I can tell you, like, yeah, people are snitching. Yeah. They only take cases that they know they can win. They only take cases that they know they can win. They only step into spaces that they know they can win. That benefits them because they know they're winning. They have all the information that they need. But then you have the lower tiers like the cops, and when you understand the police system was originally designed to capture slaves, but since everybody was under the guise of being free, we had to create these laws. So that's when the laws got created. You can already see as you go, even if you go back just to that point right there, when they started making the Constitution, you were never included. Here's the thing. They're only following suit from when we were the only things, we were the only beings here. When we ran everything. You hear someone talking about, yeah, we used to run this. It used to be our space. We were everywhere. You keep the dark, the lower, the more they dig, the blacker it gets. Yes, it's true. It's knowledge. It's true. But how are you applying that now? We were everywhere first. Yes, that's true. But what's next? If we were everywhere first, that means, and then we came down to actually understand everything, because that's the whole thought process, is coming down here and learning all this shit. If that's the case, why are you upset with them? And then that's when you get scapegoats. Like, man, the Moors was traitors and this, and this. So now you're giving them hatred. Man, I don't fuck with that voodoo bitches. I don't fuck with that voodoo. All right, cool. You just, every time you say you're not dealing with something or you're not dealing with something, you're separating yourself away from yourself because it's just you. That's all it is. It's you. It's another aspect of you. If you study the Gnostic text, basically, there was a Jesus figure or the Christ figure. Every one of us, basically, when you break down, when you read the Gnostic scriptures, every one of us had a potential to be Jesus, right? To unlock our Christ energy. But we had to go through the trials, the tribulations, all the processes to get to it. So what you're telling yourself when you say, I don't fuck with anything that deals with this, I don't fuck with anything that deals with that, I'm only gonna fuck with the dark side. Dark side, dark side. You don't understand what the dark side creates. Because the original archetype for Jesus, if you read Revelations, and he says, Jesus Satan get behind me, and they only put those two texts in there when they said Lucifer says he's the morning star, and in the Revelations, Jesus says he's the morning star. They're one and the same. It's not a literal. It's allegory. It's the alchemical makeup of you. It's the astrological story of you. You don't want to understand it, so you separate from it. So you just separating it from yourself. So when it's still affects you and you still get upset about it, guess what? Guess why you're getting upset about it? The only reason you're getting upset about it is because it's something that you need to study. Similar to like when you used to get mad when you were little, you get mad when you were in school and you didn't want to study, but you studied and you passed anyway, and you felt good after you passed. That's all this is on that level. That's all this is on that level. You got to do some more studying, young God. You got to do some more studying. That's all you got to do is study. It's not a title. If you're doing it as a title, all you're going to do is be upset. You get stuck on that one title. Your idols are becoming your rivals. Your idols are becoming your rivals. The shit you used to idolize, consciously or unconsciously, is now became your rival. It's become your nemesis. Let's say that's better. It's better to say it's your nemesis. All nemesis is there's a movie coming out. I think it already came out. Got Will Smith in it. I'm gonna check it out. It's called Gemini Man. And from the trailers and the commercials that I have seen, it was like he was created. That's under the same thought process of Logan when Logan came out in the X-Men franchise. There's another movie to look into when they recreated Wolverine and made him P90 something X60, whatever his name was in that movie. But then they created him. So it was like it was the bigger, stronger, faster version, but it didn't have the heart. It didn't have the soul, basically. Any of these movies, when they're talking about making clones and then the clones fast, they make you bigger, stronger, faster. And it's missing the key income, it's missing that component, it's missing that soul, so it doesn't have compassion. So it just operates. Similar like iRobot and all these movies, I Am Legend, iRobot, all these different movies. The science behind all of these movies and why Will Smith was in all of these movies was because they needed that component to sell it. They needed that component to sell it. So they needed that Will Smith archetype energy of what Will Smith is. They needed that component to sell that movie to you. Because in our minds, you couldn't have seen Neo. You couldn't have seen Keanu Reeves being I Am Legend. You couldn't see it. Similar to Denzel Washington in the Book of Eli. You couldn't see anybody else playing that part in your mind subconsciously because it wouldn't resonate with you. That's that movie magic. You couldn't see that movie the way you needed to see it based upon it wouldn't hit you right. And at the end of the movie, and you see that the Bible was in Braille, so only he could read it because only he could see. He was the only one that can have the knowledge because he's the only one that can feel the knowledge. He's the only one that could resonate with it. It was written in Braille, and no one else can learn how to read it. And then you look at how they got rid of all the books. They only wanted certain books. They only gave people water. All these things in these movies, they tell it all to you in the movies. And then they give you the thought process, man, that's fantasy. That's the real part. The one thing that they do in all their movies is they try to create their own reality to make it historically known. Let's go back to the first RoboCop that was made in like 84. Every time they show you a futuristic movie, they're giving you this sense of this is what we're working towards. We can't make it So we can give you this image like we've done it. They give you imagery. You're married to the dream. Now you want to be separated from the dream, but the next step after separation is divorce. I think in most states, in most places, you have to be separated for like a year and a half just to make sure everything's all right and y'all don't get back together. And then there's the divorce and the finalization, and then you cutting ties and losses, and then you paying alimony and all this shit. That's what we're in now. That's the marriage. That's that psychological marriage that we're in. You have kids. You created kids in that space. And the kids are just not, I'm not speaking in kids in the physical form. I'm talking about kids that you created other compartments of energy that you now need to feed. That's why materialism is the biggest vector of spirituality. So you created your needs. In your marriage that you created with these people, you created your needs. You created these children. Remember, looking back at what that definition of marriage is, you look back at that definition of what marriage is, when two people under the influence of the most violent, most insane, most delusive, and transient of passions, they're required to swear that they will remain in that excited, abnormal, exhausting condition until death do them part. Until death do you part. Remember what I've said? The way that something begins must continue it must be continued in that same space, in that same energy, to continue getting from what's coming from it. But since you're scared of death and actually want to understand what death is, only understand what death is, guess what happens? You'll fight tooth and nail to stay there in the environment that you're in. You may complain with your friends. You may complain with other like-minded people that are stuck in the same environment. So you continuously giving out your energy because y'all making this complaint. So now the entities and the energies that are around you, motherfuckers looking like the spirits are beside me. Those are my ancestors. Those are the motherfucking entities that are draining you in this realm. So the longer you stay negative, they're feeding off your negativity. The moment that you're saying all these things out loud to stand by and stand for, you give it to that Black Lives Matter, they're feeding off of that. They feed off of that. It gets fed on in the spiritual world, in the astral realm, the highest level that they can go to, the astral realm. The lower level of the astral realm, look up Adalderbroth in the story, the Gnostic text. And then it translates back into your mind, and then it creates currency. So now I need this in order to have this. Aiming for this to go around, money make the world go around. Money makes this world go around. So now you're stuck. So everything that you create in your head, now if you're paying attention, you understand why, disease. We need to have them keep in a conscious state of being fear of their health. Let's create another disease. How many Ebola outbreaks did you see that have we heard in the last couple of years? When the last time you heard about an Ebola outbreak? H1N1, where did that go? I don't know how many times I used to see commercials when I was young and I always saw commercials about mesothelioma. I don't know how many lawsuits that you'll see on daytime television and on late night television talking about if you were the recipient of the surgery for a mesh insert made by this company, you are entitled to compensation. They're keeping you locked in this space for that reason. That's how they keep you locked in the space, by giving you something to be concerned about, giving you something to look forward to. In order to keep you attracted and not looking within, they give you something to look forward to. In order to get back to where we need to be, you got to work on yourself first. Everything comes around you, connects on that level. Once you get to that space of understanding what you need to work on and getting working onto yourself, the reflection of everything that you need to take you to the next level comes into your life. You're chasing something, not giving anything a chance to come to you. Just sit there and chill. We complain about rape every single day, but we steady raping ourselves. Complain about rape every day, but we continue raping ourselves. We continue to complain about killing, all these killings, but we constantly killing ourselves. We constantly talk about health, but we're depending on somebody else to give us these something outside of us to heal us. You see how that trend continues to go? The longer that you're in that trend of that thought process, the longer that you stay in that space. The longer that you stay in that space, the longer that you're able to be fed from. The weaker you get, the weaker you get. You go to a job, breakdown for the word job is persecution. So you go somewhere, you get persecuted. You go through a week of persecution. B.O.B. broke that down in You go through this whole week. So you tell yourself, I got to get through the week. 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 I got to wake up. I got to get to the week. So you're telling yourself that when you go to work, when you're going, so this is basically what you're telling yourself. When you're getting persecuted, you're awake. So I'm waking up to be persecuted. 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 At the end of my persecution, I get a couple moments to myself to do what I think that I want. But since I don't have the funds or the currency or the energy to do what I want, to do what I need to do, I'm going to do what I want to do. So then you have the free sense of free will. The same drug, same liquor store, the liquor store in one aspect is just as bad as going to the church every Sunday. You're both giving money for something. It's all on the same alignment. You give money, someone pays tithes to get the good word. You go give that $20, $30. Hopefully you're spending money on higher liquors and not the lower brand liquors anyway, to get that good bottle. So you're a slave to something here. The more that you feel you need something here, the longer you stay tethered to it. Now they can tell you this drug is illegal. Think about that. Even I remember when I was old enough to actually drive and do the things I wanted to do a little more. I remember I would go to work and my mother needed her medicine and my grandmother needed her medicine and my aunt needed her medicine. They would tell me to stay away from drugs. But then they sent me to the drugstore for their drugs, for their medicine. They sent me to the drugstore. There's no good and bad. It's only negative and positive based on your understanding. There's no good and bad. There's only negative and positive on your understanding. That's what we need to start breaking down on. You're bonded. You're locked into a space that no longer serves you. It's never served you any benefit. You're separating. The separation is based on learning. So you were in this space. You came down to this space. Now it's time to start separating. And as you separate, you're starting to divorce yourself from old paradigms. Now you're at the door. You gonna walk through the door? Or are you gonna stay locked up? You can't go backwards because you know what's already there. So what do we get stuck at? Going back, trying to make it work. How many times have you been in a relationship and you tried to make it work at all costs? You tried to make that relationship work. You're like, I gotta make this work. I remember when, and all you sitting there remember is all the good times and some of the moments and all the memories. And as you start remembering them good times, you start seeing the red flags that you already should have seen in the beginning. That's the space that you're in now. You're seeing all the red flags right here in your face. They're flashing even faster. Those images are flashing even faster into your light, in your face. And you still trying to look for the good because you were told to look for the good in everything. When there is no good, there is no bad. It's only negative and positive on the same on that same line. There's the negative, there's the positive. You're in the between. There's no gray area because you're the gray area. Your gray area is the gray area is your ego. Similar to the thing when they talk about there's two wolves inside the ancient indigenous proverb. There's two wolves inside of you. The one that wins is the one that you feed more. So you're feeding all these negative things. You're starving all your positive, and you start feeding your positive. But since your mind is still stuck on those negative things, you ain't throwing the negative shit away. You ain't throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Since you're stuck on those negative things, in the aspect of not learning them, that's what creates that imbalance. Because you're holding on to both. You got both hands open. Here's the positive. Here's the negative. The key is to understand this negative shit to bring balance to your positive. The key is to understand what's in this light, what's been brought to light. So you can keep going back into the unknown or that dark. That's the balance. All it is balancing the scales. They compartmentalize you and put you in a position where you're always thinking, we think in a compartmentalized state. We think in a compartmentalized state. Your main house, like we'll go from the astrological realm, the astrological aspect. What's your zodiac? You an Aquarius, I'm an Aquarius, you can be a Leo, Libra, what your zodiac is. Those are your chief principles of you. Those are the chief principles of yourself. But every phase, your zodiac travels into the house. Now Venus is in this house of Capricorn or Cancer or whatever it may be. Those are your cardinal principles of yourself. These are the things that resonate with you based on when you're in that time, you're in that space. All of it is encompassing. You're a part of all of it. It's all a part of you. Be a part of it. Be of it, but not a part of it. Be of it, but not a part of it. If you get stuck on everything that is if I got stuck on everything that is in Aquarius, and I was in Aquarius, every time the lunar cycle and all the phases go through, and I'm going through different emotions and shit, I wouldn't understand why I'm going through the different emotions. I wouldn't understand why I'm sitting there going against Scorpio, understanding the breakdown of what Scorpio is. That's a part of me. That's a part of you. All this shit is a reflection of you. Learn it. That's what we got to do is learn this shit. That way, when you can sit back, the more you can sit back in your alpha mind, that alpha wave state, and sit back and just start thinking about things and start breaking down things in that level to that nature, the more you're able to do that, the more in tune you become, the more intuitive you become. That's like going back into like when you were little. Every ability that's just coming online right now is an ability that you've already had. You just didn't understand it. Like the movie Constantine, when the sister was like, she just stopped doing it and stopped thinking about it and it went away. It went behind that closed door. But then he like, where's it hidden? Where's it hidden? Where's it hidden? Where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? Where would she put it? Where would she put it? Said it over and over again. Said it broke her, and then she went up to the window and blew her breath on the wall, and then she saw the message. That's where you're at right now. All these events that are happening, they're your ability. Take the negative and use it as your positive. That's the key to understanding the formula. The formula, similar to when you think about the mystery schools and you had to go through this entire process until you were like 33. And then a priest would then tell you all these formulas and everything you just learned from here to here is within you. And further back in the time when we were first becoming human, when we were first coming into these suits, that our energy now program, our energy, when we first animated these bodies, that's where the rites of passage came from. You had to go into the woods and kill a wolf, or for a woman to become a woman, that's when her first cycle came on, and all these, the mythos and all these legends and everything that was told to us, it's just been repeated back to where we're at now. They're not creating traumatic events. That's based on our emotion of what we think, because it's still in our mind. We knew a long ass time ago that they weren't shit. That's similar to someone in your life. You knew a long ass time ago that motherfucker wasn't shit. But you stayed there anyway, based on what you knew, based on what you didn't know. The thought process was, I didn't know. I knew. Now that I know, what am I going to do with it? That's similar to like if you have your cell phone out and you grab your man's cell phone or you grab your girl's cell phone and that bitch is unlocked and you saw that she was cheating or you saw that she's sending naked pictures or he's sending dick pics, same thing. Everything is everything. What are you going to do with the information now that you got it? Are you going to react emotionally and blow the fuck up and cry and be upset, be mad, cry and say, how could you do this to me? And go through this entire grievance, wait a week, go back a week later. And then you'll have the excuses because we had kids together. I grew up in a home where I didn't have my father. I don't want my kids to go through that same thing. I grew up in a home without my moms. My aunt raised us. I don't want them to go through the same thing. Until you understand what it is, it will repeat itself. That's similar to an alcoholic. Alcoholism doesn't run in the family. The triggers and the traumas are repeated that cause the same line of events. These events that are happening at a more rapid pace, it's only because you're separating from them. Now you're more separated from them. For the ones of us that have come into our awakened state, now they have to speed everything that seems to be speeding up. The only reason it's speeding up is because you're at a higher vibration, so you're seeing it more. Don't get stuck looking down. Don't get stuck looking down. Look up. There's nowhere to go but up. Look up. Because that vibration is going down there looking faster. The reason that it's going, this shit's happening faster is because it's trying to trap you and encase you into it. Similar to like, you look at the movie Wanted, and he was like, why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you here? And he kept getting beat up. And then the only time that it broke is when Angelina Jolie came in and she was like, why are you here? And she started beating his ass. That was that feminine energy guiding him. You don't understand where you're at because you're separated from where you're from. You don't understand where you at because you're separated from where you're from. That's what it is. That's what's stopping you. Your lack of understanding of what got you there in the first place is the reason that you're at where you're at. The reason that that job pisses you off so much, but you go back every damn time. One side, because you know what you're going to expect and you know what you can get out of it. So you know how to move on that note. But if you hate it so much, learn everything about it without the emotion. You have one upper hand. That's the soul. You have one upper hand. You have the soul. You have the source to all the power within you. You have the source and the seed to all the power. That's your upper hand. Use your power. Divorce from humanity to learn your shit. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the submission part. Submitting to the attributes of what they want. You become comfortable in being uncomfortable. That's your gift. Your ability to be forgiving, your ability to be more coming from the spiritual encompassing, understanding and feeling, that's your gift. Because that's how you can maneuver. That's how you maneuver. That's how you learn yourself. When you humble yourself to yourself, when you still your mind, you can hear it. You hear the vibe. You hear what you need to hear. You hear to learn. It can be the same thing told you over and over and over again, but you hear to learn. Right now, you listening to Reply. Right now, every day you'll sit there and you'll listen to Reply. Your job will tell you, need you to come in extra couple hours. Need you to work a little longer. Oh man, fuck this shit. What you mad for? Because in that same thought process, you said you wanted some money. Man, but I want my free time more. So what's more important? What's imbalance? You're creating imbalances in your own life. That's the scales of the Libra. You're creating them imbalances in your own life. That indecisiveness. That's that Virgo energy. You having that passion for that seduction. Scorpio is coming into play. That Scorpio energy is coming into play. Read up on the characteristics of a Scorpio. Those are your cardinal counterparts to everything that's you. Understanding the negative propels the positive. Understanding the negative helps you get into the positive and bring that balance. It's all about balance. You running around here trying to do this, that, and the third, and you're not balanced. And since you're not balanced, everything can come at you. Because if I'm standing on my square and I know my truth, nothing phases me. Carefree. Nothing phases me. I see it all. That's that God part. That's that being omnipotent. Being able to structure yourself and submit to to submit yourself and humble yourself to yourself ultimately gives you the ominous, because you're the attributes of everything that you need to be as you move around. That's why you learn all, master none. That was the role of the fool. The fool had the ability, the fool learned everything. The story of the fool learned everything in knighthood to later on become king, because he wasn't attached to any one thing, but he mastered enough of everything. A wise man can play that's what a wise man can play a fool, but it can't be done the other way around. Their arrogance, that's what I mean by when I say their arrogance is your way out. Their arrogance is your way out. But your lack of confidence in yourself and actually learning some shit, that's what keeping you down here. Your fear of falling is what's keeping you down here. Your fear of death is what's keeping you down here. The longer you sitting here fearing death and you concerned about everything that you about to lose, is the longer you stay in the position that you at. The moment that you start realizing that everything that you see is an experience, is the moment that you're going to start rising up. That's just like any job you ever go to. Learn it and move forward. Someone just sent me us a message. I'm getting messages, but I can't see the messages. Let's go on there and see. Those are messenger messages. I know that for sure. You're getting stuck in things that no longer concern you. You're getting stuck in things that no longer concern you. None of this shit matters. That's the whole key. They show you the bad guy, but the bad guy starts making sense after you start paying attention to it. The bad guy makes sense. I remember watching the Batman trilogy. The Joker made more sense than Batman. You're stuck on this court of moral ethics, but you're constantly finding a way to bend it to your advantage. That's similar to you thinking you get ahead of life because you cheating something, but the system was created for it to be manipulated anyway. Because if you weren't supposed to do it, you wouldn't be able to do it. That's similar to back in the day when they had food stamps. Back in like the 80s and 90s. And I remember my mother, my aunts, they had food stamps. My mother had the most food stamps because she had me and at that time it was my brother and my two sisters. And if somebody wanted to buy some food stamps, all you had to do is come to the house. Still followed the same formula. For like $50, you get 100. For $50, you get $100 worth of stamps, and so on and so forth. How that math went. And then once that caught on and they advanced, they gave everybody that little EBT card with the little American flag on it. So to outsmart that part, I can't give you the stamps anymore. You gotta come with me to the store. Or because you can get somebody the stamps and then they take the stamps and they go on. But now if you get someone your card, they can use more money off that card. So follow me to the store. So you're learning in an environment and in a system to sustain it. Because the illusion is the money isn't real anyway. There's another, think about it. You buy something offline or you get a wrong charge to your card. Money comes off instantly. They'll tell you it takes 3 to 5 business days, how many business days for it to process and generate for the money to come back to your card. Man, that's fucked up. Damn, I gotta wait 3 to 5 business days for my money to come back. So now your mind's stuck on your money coming back. Now they have 1 million online banks where you get paid 2 days faster. And most of the times you get a refund transaction, they can reverse that transaction just like that. So they gave you a sense of something advanced when it was only just a repeat. They just let go of they just gave you more rope to hang yourself. Like an overdraft fee. The reason that you're in a lot of those positions that you're in because you keep overdrawing your own account. That's getting into the thought process and with your mind, with your mentality, your emotions, and what you're holding on to. Most of us are moving on an overdrawn account. You're continuously giving and giving and giving and giving in and giving in and being patient and giving in and turning the other cheek. And that account is overdrawn. So now you have to depend on somebody else's energy to give you back some energy at a fee. So now you're depending on them to give you something at a rate or interest. So now you have your house in the spiritual realm. If you take down the etymology, what houses, like what a mortgage is nothing but a debt. It's a death certificate. It's a death certificate because mortgage and mortuary goes back to death. You take that thought process, all you're doing is prolonging your death for a dream to be comfortable. Just to say you have something more than somebody else. You put in your mindset that you have something just to say you have something more than somebody else. But you're in the same prison as them. Yeah, you may have better green, you may have better a better landscape and a better place to go get you have a better commissary, you have a better range of commissary to get your food from, or a better place to get a source of your food from, but you're still stuck in the same prison. You're still stuck in the same space. That's why the division and the separation comes so apparent. All this shit is connected and it's all to be learned from. But since you're so compartmentalized in your space, you don't want to leave where you're at. You're comfortable. You're comfortable. The longer that you remain comfortable, the longer that you sit here and prolong your death. That's all it is. That's all it is. You're prolonging your existing. I don't care what title, what moniker you want to put in front of your name, what you want to change your name to, which is great. This is all things on unlocking your energy into your power. But what are you doing after you apply it? Regurgitating more rhetoric, listening to the stuff that makes you feel now you're more comfortable. Oh, I got a name change. I got a new energy circulating through me. It's the same energy, you just unlocked more of it. You just got higher up. The moment that you start feeling uncomfortable, guess what? Ride that fucking wave. That's the key to it. We have to start riding these fucking waves. Understanding that we are the conduit for the energy. You see it every single day that summer don't feel like summer, winter don't feel like winter, holidays don't feel like holidays. But then you'll go on something, I don't celebrate Thanksgiving. That's nice. Cool. Don't celebrate Thanksgiving. Cool. If your platform is to explain, drop the seeds, walk away. Drop the seeds, walk the fuck away. Go on about your business. If you don't eat meat, like me, I'm going to go get the little hazelnut roast, eat that. But I'm not doing it for anybody else. If I'm doing it for everybody else, I'm waiting for somebody else's approval. I'm just feeding my ego. So if it doesn't go the way that I want it to go, then I can be now I'm upset. What am I upset about? I'm upset because you're not seeing it my way. That leads you into that thought process of something being yours. The main thought process of this whole thing, stay woke. You don't own any of this shit. You don't own any of this shit. If you owned it, you wouldn't be in the position that you're in. We want to hold on to a little bit of something, and it really means nothing. We want to hold on to a little bit of something, and that shit don't mean shit. You want to hold on to them fucking shoes. You want to hold on to them fucking Jordans, knowing they matter of old spare fucking tires. You want to hold on to that. You want to hold on to that lace front just a little bit longer because you spent so much money on it. You put so much investing into it to keep your hair laid and slayed to the side. But in reality, when that shit get old and matted and tired, I don't care how many times you refresh it, refinishing sprays and all that shit, you got to go back and go buy another one. So who's playing who? You go get a chain to shine out more better than him. I got the VVS's in my chain. But who's profiting from the investment? You didn't invest in anything, so you went and got the chain for what? You went and got the chain for what? For your ego. Because now you feel like you're shiny. But it ain't empowering you in any fucking way. Now you being looked at, you the nigga with the big ass chain. You the chick with the extra long butterfly eyelashes. You truly know that you're in line and you're on a higher frequency when you look at the shit that you used to like and the shit that's going on around you, and the shit look like repeats. When that shit start repeating itself, it'd be the same shit over and over and over and over and over again. Like, damn, that shit happened again. Oh, this happened again. That's the third time this week that happened. This shit's just, it's just a bunch of repeats. Think about the Flintstones thought process. Like, remember like the old cartoons when they were running and it'd be that same scenery behind them? You'd be like, oh, that's the same plant. That's the same plant. Oh, that's the same plant. I remember when I was little, me and my little brother used to see how many times we saw the plant before we went to the commercial. And the shit just keeps happening more rapidly. You keep seeing the same shit more rapidly. Now you're like, nah, I don't want that to happen to me. And that never happened to me. And this never happened. And I can't understand this. And I don't understand why this is happening. Flint, Michigan still ain't got no fucking water. And they keep doing that to them. What are you upset with? You're not upset with the thought process that Flint, Michigan still ain't got no water. It's the thought process that if they're doing that to them, what would they do to us? But this is how you need to start thinking about it when you think about that, bring that rational logic in. If they're not fixing their fucking water, but they can come up with an impossible burger for that plant-based trend, the fuck's in the burger? If they won't fix water for them, why would they give me something good to eat? See it for what it is. You got to start seeing it for what the fuck it is. It's a game, man. I used to love Rest in the Transition to Dada Baba Dick Gregory. It's just a game. It's hope. They feed you hope. They feed you dreams. They feed you these things based on what you are still married to. To continue this marriage, so till death, you're not putting death, you're not even looking at the book of, you're not even looking at death, so you can't even part from it. Delusive. Let's look that word up. I saw that word in there, and let's look up the word. Let's look up what delusive means, because it said, we'll read it again. When two people under the influence of the most violent, most insane, most delusive. So since we just typed in the word marriage, let's type in delusive. Delusive. Let's look at what delusive means. Delusive. Adjective. Causing delusion and or deception. Delusiveness. We're going to click on it. It's going to break it down for us. Yes. Causing delusion, deceptive. See delusion. So we're going to click on delusion. Act of misleading someone, deception, deceit. Early 15th century. Delusion, from the Latin word delusionem, Delusionem, normative for delusio, a deceiving noun, an action of past participle stem from of delude as a form of mental derangement, false impression, or belief or of fixed nature. Let's go to delude. See delude. Delude, the verb. Deceive, impose upon, mislead the mind, or release the mind or judgment. From the 1400s, from the Latin word delure, to play, false, mock, deceive. From down one's determined. See ludicrous. We're going to keep reading through these words. Pertaining to play or sport, a sense of now obsolete. A sense now obsolete. From the Latin ludicrous, sportive, source of old French, from the old French litterature, from the ludicrum, amusement, game, toy, source, amusement, joke, to play. So we'll go back. We went through the lewd, we went to delusion, we went to delusive, mirage, optical illusion of objects reflected as a sheet of water in a hot sandy desert. That's also interesting. And then we go to marriage. I'm going to type on marriage once again. The action of entering into wedlock. So it's the opposite of being married out of wedlock. So it's you're actually acting into marrying out of wedlock. When two people are under the influence of the most violent, most insane, most delusive, and the most transient of passions. We're going to look at passions next. They are required to swear that they will remain in that excited, abnormal, and exhausting condition till death do them part. We're going to look up the word passions because that just stuck out to me. Because you would think passions means something good, right? Let's look up the word passions. It's all about reading those words. Passions. Let's look at it. Passions. All these other words. Actually, we'll take away the passion. Passion. Suffering, it says, late 12th century, sufferings of Christ on the cross, from the old French passion. Christ's passion, physical suffering. From the Latin passionem, nominative passio, suffering, enduring, from past participle, stem from the Latin word pati, to endure, undergo, experience. It's a word of uncertain origin is when it goes back to it. So let's go back to marriage. We're going to go back to the word marriage. So when you understand it, you can put it together. And we'll go to when two people under the influence of the most, and we'll go back to violent and insane because we know what those mean. From the most violent, most insane, most delusive, or the most deceptive, and the most transitive passions. And we know passions be this rare. What passion meant was about the pain, or taking part of, or the sport. So a good movie on that just came to me. There was an old movie with Ice-T in it. Old movie with Ice-T called Survivor. And in the movie, it was a priest. One guy was a priest. It was some white guys. They were hunting the homeless men for sport. Like they would take them out into the woods. And if they survived, they gave them money. They gave them food. They got them all. They got them upper mobile. And then they took them out into the woods and they hunted them for sport. So for the passion of the sport. So they gave them that delusive energy and they hunted them for sport. Fed off of their need for something. Fed off of their need. Fed off their need to be bonded to being human. It's a good movie to look at. What we have to get into our thought process of is the reason none of this shit's going to change at the level that it's at is because it's perfected for them on this level. And to keep you here, now you understand why they had to separate you away from the spiritual knowledge of yourself from not waking up. Now you understand why they said you can't wake up. Got to stay in the American dream. Don't wake up. Live and work until you die. Because after death, there's nothing there. Why do you think they told you that shit so fucking much? Because if I put the image and the programming and sprinkling the reason that it can resonate with you so well is because they sprinkled your shit in there. They plagiarized our knowledge, sprinkle that shit in there. So put it like this: New Jack City. New Jack City. We use New Jack City. That scene when Ice-T, Scotty, I'm about to die. Scotty, they gonna kill me. There's also a breakdown in that thought process I just thought about. I'll get to that after I say this. And then Nino was sitting up there and he was in the dark. That was the dark versus the light. That scene was the transferring of power. That was a transferring of power scene. You understand? Their arrogance is your way out. This is what it means by your arrogance is their way out. Is your way out, my bad. And your lack of confidence is what's keeping your ass locked in. What you're being concerned with, that's what's keeping you locked the fuck in. They know that you're going to react emotionally. They know that you're going to be concerned with something. So as long as I keep them concerned with something, I keep their eye off of that door. Because if I keep their eye off of that door, they won't step through that door and I no longer can benefit from them. If I triangulate and keep you locked away over here in this space over here, feeling real godnificent right now. And they keep you locked into that space where you're at over here, guess what happens? You never look forward, so you never see their arrogance. Because you still stuck on so you looking up to them, you thinking that they're so great, even though they're not. They're just using your shit against you. Let's go to that scene. Nino Brown was standing there. He was like, went over to one, I think it was like 13th Street. Jughead. Forgot the name of the game. Jughead. I went and got a bag of that red hair angel dust. Rolled that shit up. Got zooted and booted. So I had to go kill somebody. Like a teacher, like a cop or somebody. Nah. Maybe like a teacher. Ordinary Mo. Pulled out. Pow. I didn't even stay there to watch the body drop. Their arrogance is your way out. They give you every single reason to move forward where you need to move forward with. They give you every single reason, every single day, on every level of your life. Even if you haven't come into your awareness and you listen to this message, every day in your life, you are giving the reason to move forward. Your lack of confidence is just based on your lack of knowledge. So instead of submitting to learn, you're submitting to serve, to gain benefits. So you stay married to your ego. Two sides of the coin. Negative to you is their arrogance. The positive thing to them is you staying into your ego and staying in fear. Your ego being the encompassment and holding on to that fear, that human narrative, that's what keeps them going. They just want to be human. They just want to be human. That's all they want to be. They just want to be human. They just want to be treated fairly. So let's slow down on the killing to every couple, because they're going to be looking for us to go kill somebody. So let's make some missing kids. They're going to be waiting for us to go get some missing kids. Let's go rape some kids. Let's show them again that the Vatican's over there still raping boys, raping the kids in the fucking seminaries. That shit then got old and played out. Let's show that preacher over there performing his lip services to his congregation. Let's show him that. That'll keep him occupied for a little bit. We know they love their chicken. Let's give them a chicken sandwich to argue about and say they're not going to eat or they're going to eat. Oh, they're saying they want some more with some burger. Oh, let's give them the Impossible Whopper. As long as they can keep you locked in or concerned with something, they can feed from you. As long as these people that are in your life can keep you concerned in some way or the other, or keep you emotionally tethered to them, this is how they're winning. This is how they're learning. This is how they're learning. This is how they keep the imbalance. The more you realize that, I don't need to be doing this, or I don't need to be doing that, or this shit ain't got nothing to do with me, really. I would drink some ginger tea to clean myself. The longer that you do that, the longer that you locked into what the hell they want you to be locked into, the longer they can feed from you. That's that scene that was in New Jack City. Using your brain above all others. Another good movie another good hood classic that we all seem to know and love, Paid in Full, was another one. The three aspects of yourself that are all a part of the same line: your animal side, your heart, and your mind. They showed that in Paid in Full. Can we guess who the mind was? The brains of the operation? It was Ace. Can we tell who the heart and the compassion was? That was Mitch. The savage survival of arrogance? That was Rico. You see how they all tether together? Now you saw how that worked. Their arrogance will always be your way out. Similar to when a relationship goes bad or a relationship goes sour. You knew in the beginning the relationship wasn't going to work. Your intuition told you that. That's why you took so long to even get into it. You either take too long to get in a relationship based on a thought process, I want to feel it out, or we jump in too fast. If you know yourself deeper, you'll go slower. If you don't really know yourself, you'll go faster. The more you know, the more cautious in that space that you move. The less that you know, that's when it came through, like the things that we were told when we were little. Measure twice, cut once. Little things like this. These are the triggers that we never put two and two together. Measure twice, cut once. You gotta think about these things. Then they give you all these, then that's where all these separate triggers come from. The other day, somebody at my job was stuck on the main road to the job because they didn't know how to change a flat tire. It was a chick. It was a female. It was a woman. She didn't know how to change the tire. All this strong, this and this and that, and you don't know how to change a tire. You didn't know how to change the tire. So you were susceptible to waiting for something to come and save you. So you're sitting in a position waiting for something to save you and to pad your ego, feed your arrogance, and feed your foolishness, instead of learning first to apply, first gaining the knowledge to do, then into applying, into setting yourself up for what you want to come to you to come to you. There's a door. What's stopping you from walking through it? There's a whole door. What's stopping you from walking through it? Let's read the. So we just went through what marriage meant. We're gonna read that one more time because every time we read it, something else pops out. The more you read something, when two people under the influence of the most violent, most insane, most delusive, and most transient of passions, they're required to swear they will remain in that excited, abnormal, and exhausting condition until death do them part. Just by me reading this definition over, we read it like 4 times now, it makes you have a whole different thought process on why do they push marriage so much? And then when you understand, like you start understanding more of the moral sciences, and they break down certificates, and the birth certificate is that little red number down there is on the stock exchange, and marriage license. You become a America, which is that's the corporate name for it. That's why it's in all capital letters, breaking down why everything's in capital letters. And then so now you're a subsidiary of this corporation, so everything that you produce now belongs to them. That's why when you have kids and you sign the birth certificate, and then they use that certificate to go generate some more funds. So you're in debt. You're born in debt anyway when you come under their system. Just like under their system, you're born in sin. All that shit goes together. What are you really married to? And now that we know the true etymology of the word marriage is two people under the influence of some violent shit, the most insane shit, the most delusive, and we broke down what delusive meant, the most transient of passions. And it was crazy when we just looked up the word passions. Let's read passions one more time. Put passions in your head so you get, wait, what the hell does passion mean? Passion is not what I thought it was. In the 12th century, that's when they first, and you go into that century, you go further in, you understand during this 12th century, that's when they started instilling the Gospels and the Gnostic texts and started turning everything around. Sufferings of Christ on the cross. From the old first passion, Christ's passion, physical suffering. The word passion means physical suffering. To endure or undergo experience. Oh, there was more. Meaning strong emotion, desire. And in early 13 BC, they went and started changing it around. Meaning strong emotion, desire is attested from the 14th century from the Latin word passeo to Greek render of the Greek pathos. Replace the Old English prolong uses glosses to render under literally suffering. To endure suffering. And then they gave you the sense of sexual love, first attested. that of strong liking, enthusiasm. Wow. So just think of that in its thought process. They want you to continue this marriage or this bond that you now openly agree to. You openly agree to this word. You openly agree, I'm going to get married. Not even realizing that you're married. Let's read what marry means since we're in these words. 1300, Marian, parents or superiors, to give offspring in marriage. Also intransitive, to enter into a conjugal state. Take a husband or a wife from the old English marrier, to get married, to marry off, to give marriage, to bring up, to bring together in marriage, from the Latin word to wed, marry, to give in marriage. Spanish and Portuguese, mediar, from the word married, thus, married man, married woman, from an uncertain origin, perhaps ultimately provided to marry a young woman, young wife, young woman, da, 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 to take marriage, to take husband and wife, to become a husband and wife according to the law of custom, get married to a priest. Figurative meaning, unite intimately. Here's what married actually is. Unite intimately or by some close bond of connection. So wow. So basically, until you understand the spell, you'll still be under it. Until you understand the spell, you're still under it. You can't break the programming. There was another word that everybody was talking about, the pagan thing. All pagan means is non-Christian or non-Jewish faith. A villager, a rustic civilian, non-combatant, used from the adjective meaning of the country, of a village, from pagus. Country people, province, rural district, originally district, limited by markers, thus related to Pangier, to fix or to fashion, from the word to fashion. The religious sense is often said to derive from the conservative rural adherence of old gods after the Christians in Roman towns and cities. But the word sense predates the period of church history, and it's more likely to derive from the word paganus in the Roman military jargon for civilian. So simply put, a pagan is a person, in one interpretation, that has not been converted. And after you think about the word pagan, I'm gonna put demon on. I'm put demon on wax. Put demon on wax. An evil spirit or malignant supernatural being, an incubus, a devil, from the Latin word daemon, meaning spirit. From the Latin word daemon, meaning spirit. From the Greek word daemon, meaning deity, divine power, lesser god, guiding spirit, tutelary deity. Sometimes including souls of the dead. You don't want to have souls and you're dead. That's what that demon. They nothing but demons. We need the pure race. Pure. We're gonna look up white and black too. One's genius, lot or fortune, from Damien divider, provider, from the root word to divide. The malignant sense because the Greek word was used with Damien in Christian Greek translations and Vulgate for God of the heathen idol, also unclean spirit. Jewish authors earlier had employed the Greek word in the sense using it to render shittim lords, idols. Supernatural. The ancient Greek said supernatural agent or intelligence lower than God. Ministered spirit, attested from the English word written from Damien for purposes. The demon of Socrates was a Damien divine principle of inward oracle. His accusers would layer the church fathers, however, represented the otherwise the demon star 1985 is a goal. Let's look up the word of goal because it just gave it to us. Variable star, the constellation Perseus, late 14th century, literally the demon. From the Arabic word agul, the demon, see ghoul. We're going to go to ghoul next. It corresponds in modern representations of the constellation to the Gorgon-headed Perseus holds. To the Gorgon's head that Perseus holds. Every time you see a skull or a head being held out to you, is knowledge. Skull equates to skill. But probably it was so called because its visibility varies in the brightness every 3 days, which sets apart from the other bright stars. And now let's go see the word ghoul. You're gonna get the spookism out of your fucking head, one way or the other. Let's look at that real quick. You ready? A ghoul. In the English translation of the word from William Beckford's Orientalist novel Vetek, which is written in French, from the Arabic word ghoul, an evil spirit that robs graves and feeds upon the corpses. From the gala he seized. The noun. So we looked up a goal, we looked up demon. We said we were going to look up white and black. Once you understand the spell, you're able to break it. And you're for yourself. Interesting. We're going to go further into it. That's not what I wanted. Oh, wait. Oops. Bright radiant fairs, white noise, white tail, egg white, woolly white, white hot. We'll look for that later on. But yeah, what we have to come to understand is very big on concordances in the etymology of words. If you do not have an etymology dictionary, which you can find a PDF for all of them, we're in the age of fucking technology. Look it up in your app store. Etymology of words, Old English dictionaries. We have to get into the access point of everything that they told us. You start questioning what's really white, what's really black, what are these definitions? Why did they change the definitions? Those who control the knowledge have the power. You ever notice how much powerful you feel when you know some shit? But it's that arrogance. It's our arrogance that keeps us locked into it. Now you feel superior because you know something more than somebody else. But it's arrogance. Your arrogance is their way out. So if somebody challenges you, somebody challenges you. Just had a thought about Chinese food. Someone asked me, you never see a commercial about Chinese food? I was like, of course not. Because they give you a commercial similar to the McDonald's commercial. They got to tell you what's in it. See, word of mouth, I can tell you a story, add my own little spin to it, put my own ingredients in it, and make you believe on based on what it is. That's that power of that. That's that ultimate power. Let me tip this right here so y'all can see me. To leave you in the hidden is their goal. You're leaving yourself in the hidden. You're leaving yourself from not knowing something. Ultimately, that's all you're doing is leaving yourself hidden. As long as you stay bonded to these old ideologies without understanding them, they can be used against you. That goes into, you think about the court of law, anything that you say will be used against you. If you can't have a lawyer, one will be appointed for you, and all these things like that. When they read your Miranda rights, that's part of their game. Your paycheck dictates how much you speak. They bribe you every single day to forget about what you need to do. They bribe you every single day with shiny shit, all the riches of the world to keep you from looking up, from getting to the next level, getting to the upper room. They keep you out of your upper room. They keep you out of your own mind. And when you do go in your mind's so convoluted and so mixed up and so confused that you don't know what's left from right, up from down, what's right from wrong, because it's all been programmed into your head that this is right, this is wrong, this is bad, this is good, this is bad, this is good. You do this, you get punished. You do this, you get a reward. So you get that you're a good nigger. You're being good. You're being quiet. You're being exactly how we want you to be. On the same note, you're being ruly. You're being reckless. You're being a savage. You're being exactly how we want you to be. Turn that shit around. The attributes of the savage, give to the quiet person. Give to your quiet aspects of yourself when you need to move in that space. And the aspects of the quiet person, give those to the savage. They say there's nothing more dangerous than to always watch the quiet ones. Because the quiet ones know some shit. Always watch the quiet ones. They sit quietly at their house, not thinking about you at all. Because they know you're going to do everything that you need to do. I'm going to be loud. I'm going to live loud. Why? I'm going to stay under the radar, make this money, and go on with my life. That's the mindset we need to have. Yeah, I think about it like this. They show you the images. I saw an image the other couple of weeks back. I always see that repeated image. I don't really see it that much anymore. But they showed the black kids in a church, or like they were kissing the feet of like a Jesus idol. They had like someone had the cross out there, and they were kissing the Jesus feet, the Jesus statue's feet. And they showed the Asian kids doing some advanced science shit. I think they were doing something really that seemed really advanced. They were working on something with computers, robots. And they said that's the problem. I watched somebody in the comment thread, because I'm always reading comment threads, because that's my news. The comment threads, those are my news. Those debates, those are my entertainment. I'm entertained by their ignorance. That's all I am. I'm entertained by their ignorance now. I'm past the point of being disgusted. Bobby Hemmett said you get to a point where you're disgusted of the black condition. I'm past the state of being disgusted, because I know what to expect, because it's simply scenery. Marcus Garvey said there's too many niggas not acting like the white man. I remember that quote. We're going to get back to that quote after I get back to the point where I was talking about with the kids. While you bow down to something, you can't look up. Common sense. That's similar to, there's an African proverb. It was like an African quote. When they came with smiles and a book, and they told us to bow. When we arose, they had the land and we had the Bible. You have everything you need right now within you. You have everything you need within you right now at this very moment. But it's up to you to unlock it. The only thing that's stopping you is you. That's what I keep meaning by every time. The only thing stopping you is you yourself. That same job you hate, why aren't you learning everything about it then? Give yourself a reason to despise it. Your negative attribute that you hate it, but you still need it. How about you learn it so you don't need it? Learn why you hate it so much. Learn it so you don't need it. Listen to hear. I said that wrong as hell. Hear to learn, listen to reply. Stop listening to reply and start hearing to learn. It's not about being heartless. It's about using your heart less. Stop allowing your heart to be used to carry all these weights. You're stuck on the thought process of this shit outside of you, so you got to act really, really good, and you got to be really, really good, and you got to be really, really in tune, and you got to be really, really good to get to something. So you're in that thought process of reward and punishment. As long as I'm doing everything they tell me not to do, I'll be all right. As long as I do what they tell me not to do, I'll be all right. As long as I do what they tell me to do, I'll be okay. It's not the fucking case. I can give you a guarantee, and the shit's fucking crazy. Bobby Hemmett said it. And that shit was hilarious as hell to me when he first said it. It was hilarious as fuck when he said it. Say you love Jesus, they'll shoot you in your head. But if you utter something about you a Satanist, they'll walk away from you. Think about that. They'll walk away from your ass. There's a reason that they keep you in the dark. There's a reason. They're not even keeping you in the dark. They're keeping you in the light. You're the dark. You're the darkness that the energy comes from. You're the only power source. So if I keep you in the power source, if I keep you locked in the power source, if I keep you plugged in, I can feed forever. That's what every vampire movie is about. They feed from your ignorance. They feed from your ignorance. They feed from your anger, your ignorance, your sympathy, your caring. They feed from all your human shit. They feed off of human shit because they're not human. They're reflections of you. It's nothing but energy. Everything is energy. That's what that means by everything being energy. Everything is energy. Everything is fuel. It's just locked in different conduits. And if I tell you that conduit over there is bad and this conduit over here is good, you want to go around the good conduits and not go into the negative aspects. If you start understanding it as negative and positive, the balance of the polarities, that's when you'll go forward. It's the balance of these polarities. You empower your own suffering. What did passion mean? Suffering. So you put all your hard work into this passion and you suffer. And then you get gifted. You go through this entire job or this persecution at your job. Every day I go to my job, realize the mindset that I have is now that I'm detached more and I'm able to navigate more. I move in a more fluid sense of energy and space. I'm moving as more, just got a text. I'm moving a more fluent energy of space because I'm not a part of it. I go there, do what I need to do, and I leave. Just like when I go to the gym. I go to the gym, do my workouts, and I leave. I go to, here we have Sprouts. I go to Sprouts. I go grab my supplements. I go grab me some spinach and some arugula. I go grab some almond milk. I go grab my stuff and I leave. I don't get sucked in to what's going on. So someone can ask me a question like, yo, you see that fight last night? No. Oh. You see that football game? Nah. See that football game? Nah. These things don't resonate with me anymore. Because I'm not in the human aspect anymore. That doesn't mean I won't go look at a game or I won't go watch something. You feel me? It's just that my mindset is no longer in the dramatics of a repeat. I want new shit. I'm creating new shit. I like the new shit now. You feel me? I like new shit. I don't like I'm going to wake up and talk about a team that's not really mine. That's small talk to me. It doesn't advance me in any way. So the same person that can sit here and tell me some shit about they want to advance and they want to change the narrative and push for the culture, then talk to me about things that will propel the culture. Not about the things that lock me into another space. If it's not taking me to my higher, why am I doing it? That's the thought process you must have now. That separation is that key on that. That's how you grow that mental elevation. That's how you grow the mental elevation. That's how you elevate your mental. By breaking away from the distractions, separating away from the concerns. The collective, yes, have that. I have that compassion, but honestly, I care fucking less about some cancer kids or some cancer patients when I've already done the research to why cancer arrives in the body and what cancer is. Cancer on the outside looking in is bad or negative. But to the body, it's positive because the cancer locks in the cells, the poisonous cells, and releases them when the body's back to regulated, back to an alkaline state. The bacteria feeds in mucus. If the bacteria feeds in an acidic environment, meat is acidic. It's not natural to your body to even consume. So for me to sit here and be distracted by people dying from cancer every day, as a God, it doesn't resonate with me. Even if I was in the beginning of my consciousness, now that I sit here and think about it, I would be mad when I was younger. I would be mad at God. I'd be like, God don't do this, and God doesn't do this, and God doesn't do this. All these people suffering, and there is no God. So I'm becoming atheist because there is no God. You just compartmentalize yourself again. But now that I'm in my higher self, I'm in that higher realm to myself, more into my God self. You've been given every tool you need, every ingredient you need to rid yourself of all this shit, but you're waiting for me, or you're waiting for something to save you so you ain't got to put in the work. You have to put in the work. The knowledge is there. The power source is there. The equation is set. All you got to do is plug that shit in. All you got to do is tap in. You're the power source. Tap in. Knowledge plus applying it equals your rising. The more knowledge you put in, the more power you unlock, the higher you rise. That's the formula. All the principles, you can sit here and read all the Hermetic texts, read the 7 Hermetic principles. You can sit there and thump on all 99 attributes of Allah. You can sit there and talk about the angels. You can talk about Jesus, the angels, the 12 disciples. You can go through the entire the whole entire Torah, the entire Quran, the entire Bible, and have all of that information in your mind right now. But if you're not applying it, what is the point of you having it? If you're not applying it, all you're doing is regurgitating and becoming emotional when somebody challenges your shit. Stand on your fucking square. You ain't standing on your shit, then what the fuck are you standing there for? You're not standing for something, you standing in the way. Stop allowing yourself to stand in the way of yourself. The only thing standing in your way is you. Only thing standing in your way is you. Stop standing in your own damn way. Stop putting your own fucking foot in your mouth. The moment you stop doing these things, the shit's gonna start shifting. It's obviously shifting because the distractions becoming more apparent. Just keep shifting, keep learning. They slow down when you slow down. Hell, sometimes they don't slow down, they speed up. They'll go radio silence, white noise for a couple of weeks, couple months, because you got quiet. Wait, they're too quiet. What are they doing? Let's cause an uproar real quick. We'll start small. We'll do the same formula we do every time. Start off small, then get big. They'll respond emotionally, then we'll have them again. Because they start getting weaker every time you don't pay attention to their shit. It's like some people in your life right now, you ain't paying attention to their fucking shit. But it's causing them to change. Either they're going to do more of the same or they're going to change and evolve. That's a reflection of you. That's what I meant by when I said the other day, when I was talking about people coming in your life based on your needs. The moment you become more self-sufficient in the things that you do, it forces the change, either to the negative sense for them where you're no longer available, or to the positive sense, because they'll actually start to evolve with you. That's what that key is. Saving yourself is the key to unlocking all the shit you want to do. Saving yourself relieves you of the burdens. Divorcing from humanity helps you able to move in the ways that you need to move. You can't build in a space that's already structured. You cannot solve a problem in a space that's already structured. That space is set for that. In order to beat something or in order to change something or shift it, you must go to the next level. Similar to if you're sitting in a car and you have the stick shift, In order to get more power, guess what you have to do? You have to shift from first to second to third to fourth to fifth. You gotta shift gears. It's time to shift the gears. You don't even want to learn the gears that you need to shift. So you happy with them giving you something that's automatic and instantaneous. Damn, that's easier to drive. It shift for me. But now you got to accept everything that goes with that car. Now you got to accept everything in that vehicle that they giving you to drive that moves automatically. That's why they give you the new iPhone every other month, to give you a sense of they're advancing. Because in your mind, you were shown the Jetsons and you were shown these movies. They were talking about the future. They were talking about phones. And now you think that they've advanced. The one thing I learned from Black Panther was if we stay out of their way, they shit gonna go the way they wanted to go anyway. It's still gonna fall apart. But you can advance and save yourself. And think of how far you advance if you're thinking about yourself. Think about how far you're gonna go if you advance yourself. Think about what happens around you as you advance yourself. Heat rises. Heat rises. The higher you go, the hotter it's going to get. Because your alchemical composition of yourself has to change to fit the space. The alchemical position of yourself has to rise to take you to your new space. Your psyche has to change in order to get you to the new space. The old rhetoric and all that old shit that's going on in your life is not going to hold you to the same regard of where you need to go to your next level. Because you're stuck in a space that no longer fits you. It never fit you in the first place. You want to be a part of society. You want them to change things, or you're going to separate. That's cool. You separated, but you still need their shit. You separated, but you still need their shit. That's why you're still in the separation phase. Because you don't want to fully divorce. Because if you divorce, you have to accept what they give you. You have to cut the ties and learn those losses. You don't want to learn those losses. You're ready to learn them losses yet. That's what you're stuck on. You don't want to learn the losses. So you don't want to finalize the divorce. You don't want to sign them papers. You scared to sign the papers. Everything I do in this time, in this continuum, in my alignment, is preparing me to sign the papers. Every bit of knowledge, all the knowledge, everything that channels, everything that hits me is to sign the papers. I don't have the attention span for what it was before. I don't have the attention span for what was said before. It doesn't make sense to me. I see things at a different space so I can move differently. I can have a conversation with somebody, and when I give them my answer, on the direct level of how I give them my answer, it changes, it forces them to think. That's being ominous. That's the omnipresence. When you sit there and you see to observe and not see to react, when you sit there and you hear to learn and not learn to reply, that increases your humility, that increases your wisdom, that increases your power, because you're using it as fuel to navigate, to move through the angles of light. You're using that energy not to suppress your demons, but learn how to use your demons or your intelligence to your advantage. Their arrogance is your way out. Your lack of confidence, or as we're going to start saying, Godfidence, is their way in. Your lack of value or worth in yourself, or belief of the lack of worth in yourself, the lack of your energy, the lack of your strength, the lack of you wanting to be powerful, the lack of you tuning into yourself, tapping into your intuition, following your gut instincts. Your gut is your third fucking brain. Your gut being you have three brains. The one up here, your heart, is the true brain, and then you have your gut instincts. So if you steady going through the processes, and that includes eating the processed food, everything's processed to that extent, but you're putting that process, you digesting processed food, you digest processed food, so your intuition or your gut instinct, it becomes processed. So now you're moving in an emotional state, so your heart becomes processed. Now you're going through the motions of what you thought love was, which is actually lust, because you're thinking about what you can get from something. And then you're going into your mind, into the thoughts, into the father of the process of everything that's on this process that looks really pretty that comes across my eyes, I can look at. How many times did your grandmother or your great aunt tell you that everything that glitters ain't gold? How many times, even if you didn't hear that, you heard it in songs? You heard it. How many times do you see everything that glitter ain't gold? That thought process, putting these things together into form your thought to be proactive and not reactive. You just hoping that it all ends. It's not going to end as you want it to. Just because you black, just because you got melanin, that doesn't save you. Just because you feel that you got a little more knowledge than anybody else, that doesn't save you. Just because you got a card that makes you think that you're now tax exempt and you don't have to listen to certain laws, that doesn't save you. That allows them to, you're still acting in the physical realm, so they can still do physical shit to you. Go out of the country and try to come back. Their arrogance is your way out. That's similar to when they do that comment talk about go back home where you came from, and then you want to now combat, we're indigenous to this land, we ain't going nowhere. You battle arrogance with arrogance. Yeah. They got the gun now. You can say it was your land first all you want, but you already signed on the agreement as their property. They flipped the laws and made you their property. They flipped everything and made you their property. And you've been their property ever since. Similar to when you go to your job. As long as you're on the clock, you gotta abide by their rules because they technically own you for how many hours a day that you work. These are the thoughts processes. You bonded to some shit that don't even exist in the real. And when you go to sleep, all this shit disappears. When you go to sleep, everything in your house, I don't care what you have in your house, it disappears when you close your eyes. You know it's there because you put it there, and you got to reopen your eyes to see it again. 1 second, you know what usually do. You know what we always do around this time? You know what it's time. I've been drinking tea and all these other fluid and water all day. Your problem is, most of our problem is that good and bad thing. Everybody wants to send me text message when they don't need to. The problem is in your mind. You get locked into something, but your mind is set on that good and bad, not that positive and negative, and they use that to their advantage every single time. You think it's bad that they locked up our young men and young black men and our young men in prisons for selling weed. They ain't viewing shit as good and bad. They view it as negative and positive. Back in the day, when the hustle was the hustle, even though they put it in your hand to sell it and sent you to jail, sent you to prison system because of their laws. That's good. Back in the day, whenever times got rough, what did you do? What did you do? You robbed, cheated, sold drugs, and you stole. Because you had no options. You felt you had no options. They showing you arrogantly. I'm always gonna say the arrogant part. They're showing you arrogantly that they running out of options. They're running out of options. So they legalizing weed. You got motherfuckers running like, hell yeah, man, they're legalizing weed. And then you got rappers talking about all they smoking medical weed. And they know you're going to follow the rap. They're going to follow the music. So a rapper says, all I smoke is medical. All my herb is medical. Dr. Wesley Muhammad, Nation of Islam, put out the book talking about the feminization, what they're putting in the weed or in the marijuana, the medical marijuana, because they're altering the THC levels, which takes away from the CBD, which is actually the medicinal part of the marijuana. So what motherfuckers are out here smoking right now, that loud that they smoking, with all the other shit that they altered it with, you can't regrow loud because Masato, whatever, that M word, the ones that are growing the seeds and you got to go keep buying seeds from them, they got that shit on lock. You can't regrow shit. You got to go grow from their seeds. So unless you know an old head somewhere that's been growing his strain of weed that's now you say is mid-grade or mid-grade, but it still got seeds in it. You look at it as loud, you go grab your gram or whatever you grab and it ain't got no fucking seeds in it. you ain't putting two to two together. If it ain't got seeds in it, that shit is a genetically modified organism. I think it's the organism. It's a GMO. So you putting that shit in your system, it doesn't connect to you. The natural cannabinoids that are in your system don't react to it. So your body goes into a state of stasis. So you basically fucking knock the fuck out. Your body trying to reheal itself. And since you don't understand, guess what you doing? That shit was good. Because you stuck on a feeling. So we were nodded out, man. We just got hungry and all this other shit. So you had all the other symptoms and the munchies of the fucking marijuana. Now understanding that you put in the whatever chemicals they put in the shit, that's what you putting into your system. So then you like, man, but I need that shit. Now you more addicted to that than anything. But right before they started doing the miracle marijuana, they told you about the bath salt shit. Motherfuckers out there eating motherfuckers' faces and taking people's ears off and shit. They did that right before that. And then they legalized marijuana. Gotta start using your fucking brain for real. Actually start fucking thinking for once. The shit that you getting married to, that insanity, the insane violence, you're signing on that certificate, you signed up for it, and then they give you everything that gives you pleasure, that feeds your passion, or to endure the pain, to keep you attached to it. That's the alchemy of it. They put strains, they put fragments of what's naturally a part of you into the formula that they use. And then they apply the trauma to keep producing what they need, the energy that they feed off of. That's similar. If someone is in your life, usually when bad shit happens in your life, you always have that group of people that you go around that share in that same experience or that same trauma that you go talk to about. And then y'all usual thought process of what y'all gonna do next has nothing to do with healing the trauma, but has everything to do with numbing the pain. And now you see the constant reflection. Boom. Look at today's music. Today's music has no healing capabilities because it's not recorded in the same way of healing capabilities. When we look back at our parents and some of us that were actually all the parents, and you look at, they would go to the Studio 54 and all these clubs, even though they were zooted and booted off fucking cocaine. That's where Curtis Blow got his name from. He made a song about his name being to cocaine. But it was that record. It was that carbon on carbon. That was the magic. You playing that shit, you sitting there playing that house music on that record, everybody felt good. They didn't give a fuck about the day before because they were healed. That was that magic. That was our divine magic. We were still doing it. That's why you always hear when you got to listen to the old heads, because the old heads be like, this shit sound like noise to me. Because it sounds like noise to them because it doesn't resonate to them. Because they're on a different vibration. In your different vibrations, certain things are going to start resonating to you that you need to tap into. That's the point of the resignation. That's why they always say it's good to know someone that's smarter than you. It's good to have someone around you that's better off than you, because it challenges you to become better. It challenges you to become smarter. It challenges you to become faster. It challenges you to get to the next level. If you're around, everything around you is on that same vibration and it looks familiar and you feel safe, anything outside of that challenges that, now you feel like you attacked. Don't attack my intelligence. I didn't attack your intelligence. I just said something super smart. That's why when you look at the debates on YouTube, niggas debating back and forth, the Jesus dude versus whoever. And if you look at it to gain some information and some knowledge, that's good. But if you look at it and you react to it in an emotional state, and they didn't give any scholarship or anything to read back on, you stuck in the same damn boat. Because now all you're gonna do is regurgitate and emulate that. You're gonna be on Facebook at 3 o'clock in the morning arguing with some dude making you upset about your knowledge, and you keep trying to spit them facts out, and you feel good because you spitting out facts, and you feeding your ego, and that person is arguing with you about different parts of the Bible. I don't have conversations or builds with people that haven't done any of the research in the beginning. I would sit there and hear all day to learn exactly how to move. You should be hearing to learn and not listening to reply. You should be seeing to observe and not looking to react. Those are the major keys of this. You should be submitting to the attributes of the ideal and not submitting to serve the ideal. As you sit here and submit to the ideal, that's when you are literally postponing everything that you want to happen. Okay, if you submit to the ideal, you submit to serve the ideal, you'll be under the thumb. Here's some crumbs. That's more than you've ever seen. Go buy yourself some shoes. Go buy yourself that used Benz for $64.94, $6,000. You ain't gonna be able to afford the upkeep, so you'll stay right here just to have enough money for the upkeep because you're serving something. But when you submit to the attributes, you can move freely because you can go to your job every single day, do what you need to do, and go home. You can go to that school every single day, do what you need to get, and go the fuck home. You can go to the grocery store every single day, get what you need, and go the fuck home. See, that's the pattern. You still have the compassion of what's going on around you. You're aware of what's going on around you, but it doesn't matter to you because you're not at that level anymore. That's those are the keys. That's the science. Absorb everything. The moment that you lock yourself into a position and you serve the ideals of whatever group you want to be a part of, rather than submitting to the attributes of that group, you become a slave. You become more of a slave than you already actually were. The reason that slavery, and they can say words like slavery, prison complex, death in the street, Eric Garner, hands up, don't shoot. The reason they can say all of these things because they know they're going to trigger your emotional attachment to it. Because they're going to tell you, they're going to have someone get up there on the podium and that could have been our babies, and that could have been your grandmother, your mother, your aunt, your girlfriend. That could have been your boyfriend that got shot in that damn apartment. We got to get these laws changed. You're married. You're trophies. You've always been trophies. Remember what I told you about the movie Ice-T Survivor? How they was gathering up where the homeless people and taking them out into the fucking wilderness and making them run around. But Ice-T was actually smart enough to get out. He learned from everything, and at the end of the day, he caught up to he went and killed up. He went and knocked each one of them dudes off. And at the end with the priest, he had the gun. And at the end, he was like, always check the barrel. Their arrogance is your way out. That's the key. Their arrogance is your way out. Because they don't give you everything you need to know. All you got to do is sit there and absorb it. Learn from it. That's why I tell y'all, that's why I always say the moon day. It's time for another shift. That's what that means when I say that. Ain't no better day than today than the rise. Ain't no better, in order to win the day, you must understand the night before. And then I added on Thursday, there is no other way through the day unless you learned from the wins of the day before. Every day you're living in a moment. Every day you're aligning, you're getting closer and closer to a door. Every day in your life, there's a door. To get through that door, it requires you to have learned from the room that you're in to walk through that door. The main thing that you're going to learn is that through that door, everything that closes behind that door is behind that other door. And now you're at another level. There's levels. The same alignment and the same things that you were put through in that aspect that locked you where you're at right now, the same shit that was put upon you and you had to learn over and over and over and over again, now it's time to learn again as you get to the next level. Don't get stuck. You standing on your square, make sure it's not in quicksand. These are those major keys to taking you to your next level. Don't get stuck in dark side, nigga. Understand the dark to create new light. Don't get stuck looking at the fucking lights. The positivity and light. Don't get stuck on looking at the positivity and light. Understand it to get the balance. I don't want to go too far over there. That's that deep, that's that devil shit. It's the other side of the spectrum that you're afraid to get into. How else can you tell it to get behind you if you don't even face it? Similar to if the groundhog doesn't see its fucking shadow. If the groundhog sees the shadow, it's like 2 more weeks of winter. But if it don't see its shadow, it's going to be a good day. Use that analogy. Every day you're taught. Every day you're shown. Correction. Every day you're shown your way out. It's up to you to pay attention. Every day you're put into a position to do something that's going to challenge you. Are you thinking about the past? Why? You already been there. Thinking about the future? The shit don't exist. The only thing that is right now. I can sit here and hold this lighter just like this and hope for the flame to come out. to like this. But I know I got to put the work in to light that shit, to bring the light. You got to put the work in. All the ingredients is right there sitting on the table in front of you, along with a mirror sitting right there showing you the finished product. If you don't like something you don't like something that's happening without you, with outside of you, that means you need to learn what it's connected to inside of you. When you change, when you evolve, when you elevate, your environment follows you. Your environment changes. Your elevation changes. The higher you go, you're going to see that gap, that ladder is going to get, them steps are going to get longer and longer and fucking longer. But if you, similar to the mythos talking about, let's break down that mythos with the, when old buddy went into hell and the devil challenged him, or Hades challenged him and said, she can come with you as long as you don't look back at her. But at the last moment, to make sure she was still there, he looked back. And then she would sit back to the underworld. Literally was an allegory. You're looking back in that rearview mirror to see if what's back there is still worth looking at. But the thing about rearview mirrors, it makes everything look closer than it actually is. The only thing that you have is what's in front of you. So are you standing in your own way? Or are you learning to navigate to your destination? You live every day you learn. For every day that you don't learn something, you basically died. That's how the ancients, that's how our ancestors viewed life. So if you went a whole week and didn't learn shit, congratulations. That show you love, The Walking Dead, you're one of the walkers. Or if you don't want to be one of the walkers and you get enough information or enough knowledge in your mind, but you still steady trying to survive in that space, congratulations, you either Rick or one of the motherfuckers fighting the walkers. Take Game of Thrones. I didn't watch one thing in Game of Thrones, but one thing I did learn is these motherfuckers kept trying to go kill to get this throne or some shit. And they had different factions, and they all were stuck in their different factions, fighting to the death for their faction, fighting for their queen or their king, fighting to serve their master for the benefit of their master, because they knew if their master got to a certain space, they felt they got to a certain space. If they win, I win. If they sick, I'm sick. That's that humanity part. That's basically what you tell yourself. When you are concerned with the health of something, even after you go get the research and realize you know what it takes to heal that shit, you'll get bogged down with the concern of, why don't they do this? All this information, why don't they give the people the cure to cancer? Because they manufacture cancer. It's a business. As long as I have something you need, I got you. The moment I don't have something you need, I got to create something traumatic to destroy all the shit so you can't get to what you need to get to. You do it to yourself every single day. That's the whole key. The key to all of your shit is stop being in your own fucking way. That's the whole. That's the whole secret. The whole secret to life is learning that death, learning what death is. Learning death is not what they said it was, and they gave you this fear propaganda what death was, because you got to realize your energy within a vessel, you're animating, you're the energy that animates this form. So everything that you do in this form is not connected to your energy. It was a conduit of what you had to do while you were here. You put that in your head, you stop being so goddamn concerned with getting bad and understand negative and positive. And you get to what you need to do and stop thinking about what others want you to motherfucking do. So if you stay married to the game, I'm gonna throw some rice. And then the birds of prey will come and feed on the rice, and their stomachs will explode. And then you'll be like, oh my God, that was so horrible to end my wedding. But in the twisted sense, since I understood what the fuck the marriage meant, the word means, I just gave you the best gift ever. Kind of like when Rico was in Paid in Full and he put the whole cake in that man's face. He knew something you didn't know. Now we broke down the Paid in Full. Those are your three sides of yourself. The savage or the animal side of you was Rico. Mackay Pfeiffer, or it was Mackay Pfeiffer or Mitch. That was the compassion or the heart. And Ace was the mind. Mace was the higher self, because even after everybody passed away, he was still there. He did what he needed to do to navigate. Same thing with Nino Brown. They were showing you that your arrogance is the way out, because he stood around long enough, Nino, to get all the information he needed to build his case and do what he needed to do at the very end, so he can move on. We can also talk about what the hell was the other damn movie? Waist Deep with Omar Epps and LL Cool J. They literally gave LL Cool J the name God. And he generated and operated and destroyed in his head. And at the end of the movie, well, towards the end of the movie, LL Cool J says the most powerful line that you will ever hear in your life. You ain't a cop. You a sellout. You ain't a cop. You a sellout. You going against your natural order of yourself. You're supposed to be generating and operating and destroying this shit to get back to you. Every single day, that's what you have to have the thought process in your mind. In generating, operating, and destroying this shit to take yourself to your next level, to build and write your narrative and transition or transcend or ascension. Because nothing at this level can be fixed, because it's fixed. That's the word fixed. It means to keep in place. So you can't fix something if it's meant to stay in place. That's what fix means. So you got to go above it to see it. Just like in Wanted. And the shit was going back, the little bullet was going back and forth in the loom super fast. And he had to slow down his mind He had to slow down and still his mind to be able to achieve it. It's all there in your face every single day. You get the examples. The signs are always there. You just gotta open your eyes to see it. Gotta start cutting once you concentrating on measuring twice and cutting once, not even realizing there's a wall I gotta cut a hole to fit through. But I'm in a room. Why not just understand the constraints of what's in that room and destroy the room? I know there's no benefit in that space. I don't want no one else to get trapped here. If I save myself, I lay forth the example for either ones to follow or flee. That's all it is. That's all it's ever been. As always, it's going to get deeper and it's going to get darker. But it's a good dark. Ain't nothing to be afraid of. I think I'm going to start doing the etymology word of the day. I think we're going to start putting that in there. If you haven't already, upon looking at this, always subscribe, share, like, get those analytics up. Stay tuned for the God Hour, the God Called Alchemist podcast coming soon. We're going to come from every angle of this divine dart to get into our beautiful lights. I love y'all. We always love us. Let's stay invoking that power. Ashe.